Welcome to Stew Science 101. I'm Mr. Stewart, and
Professor Stewart.
there we go. Guys, you've already done one. Hey, this is number 2. We're going to go over the scientific method, which you guys have been going over this whole week. Now, you already know what some of you might be thinking. Why do I need this? I'm not going to be a scientist. I don't need scientific method. What do you think?
Actually, the scientific method, the process, can be used in anything, even not science things. I often joke if that all the congressmen were scientists, we'd be in perfect country because we don't make the same mistakes twice. Scientists, the reason for the scientific method is to try things that you don't know if they work.
Yeah.
And then figure out why it doesn't work, or maybe it worked and why it worked.
There you go.
And then you build from that. So you're never done with the scientific method. It's every day.
A lot of you guys might be fishing or duck hunting or something like that, or mechanic, trying to figure out what bait catches the most fish, trying to figure out why your car won't start.
What duck call works the best?
What duck call works the best? Me as a soccer coach, I want to try to figure out why soccer team played better in the second half and not the first. I use that scientific method. Even trying to figure out why you're tired every morning or after lunch could be one big thing.
Sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Caffeine. Sorry.
Now,
Energy drinks.
Scientific method is basically a way to organize, a way to solve a problem. You don't need some giant definition. You go question, hypothesis, research, experiment, data, conclusion. Imagine yourself going fishing Saturday morning. You fish for 2 hours, nothing, not one fish, not a blue fish, not a green fish, Dr. Seuss, nothing. Then somebody near you catches 3 fish in 20 minutes, and you're like, whoa, why? I'm cooked. What bait are you using? Congratulations, you just started the scientific method just by saying, what bait are you using?
Or is that stagnant water or moving water? See, there's things that you may have thought about, then come up, and then you find a better place to fish.
Yeah. So we asked that question. Does the type of fishing bait affect the number of fish I catch? It's a testable question, right? We can test that.
Mm-hmm.
Not, why am I not good at this? No. Could be just the bait.
Could be the bait, could be the reel. Sometimes the reel has a sound to it, a vibration, and it chases fish away.
Well, what is real funny is maybe they just didn't put the hook on. But now we go, next thing, hypothesis. All right, it's an educated, testable prediction, guys. Simple way to write this is if blank, then blank, because. If using live shrimp instead of artificial bait, then I will catch more fish because live shrimp provides natural movement and scent in the water. You're not guessing randomly, guys. Very simple. Part 2, variables. Guys, there's a lot of variables in this, okay? No, not the math variables. We got to test the hypothesis, but that's where the variables come in. There are 3 important ones that you need to remember. 3. Independent variable. It's what you change.
What I change. Independent I.
So, in our fishing experiment, we are changing the type of bait.
Sorry.
Okay. There you go. Independent. I change it. Dependent variable. It's what you're measuring in this experiment. Guys, the number of fish you caught. That's the dependent variable. That's what we're measuring.
Dependent on what I do.
Exactly.
I'm controlling the independent. What I do depends on the outcome.
Perfect. Now there is the constants. Guys, constants, things that we want to keep the same.
You have to have a comparison.
Yeah.
You have to compare to the norm to figure out why it's working better or worse.
Yeah.
And figuring out if something works worse is still good science
Yeah.
because now you know what not to do.
Now you know what not to do. And again, like fishing location, same time of day, same weather conditions. Those are good constants that you want to keep when doing a science um, project or experiment.
There you go.
Now, when you collect data, guys, we'll go through this a little bit more, but you'll have maybe 3 different trials. You might go, hey, artificial bait, I only caught 1 fish. Live shrimp, I caught 4. Trial 2, I might have only caught another, maybe 2 fish.
Mhm.
But then I end up catching 6 with live shrimp. These are different um, ways to collect data. Okay.
And different experiments require different collection of data. Sometimes it's numbers, sometimes it's measurements, sometimes. So every issue that you come up with in scientific methods, sometimes you have to figure out how you're going to actually measure it to get a change.
Yeah.
Because if you're changing just the bait and everything else is the same, that's great. But what if you change the bait and the location?
Yeah.
Then you could double your fish catch instead of. So it's you deal with the bait first, then you deal with the location, and you continue. I mean, there's professional fishermen that make hundreds of thousands of dollars because they've done this when fishing.
Whoa.
They've learned what kind of boat is best, what kind of there's certain motors that are they cost more because they're quieter.
Uh-huh.
There's different things, and there's different things. You don't put wax on your boat because it has lemon scent, chases the things away.
Gotcha.
So you're constantly looking at, and these professionals have done this over and over and over again, and they've tweaked it to the point where they know they're going to win
Hmm.
because it's always the same fisherman winning. It's not one guy wins and he never wins again. He's winning multiple contests
Wow.
because he's learned, and he's not going to give his tricks away.
No.
So again, you're being scientific method from day one, everything you do. When you were a baby, you stood up and fell. You realized that you had to keep balance. You learned from the mistake. Sorry, I got.
Hey, I mean, even today, some of the kids in the classroom, they stand up from the chair and they still fall. It happens. I seen it last week. You know who you are.
Yeah, that may be a whole separate thing. Yeah.
Now, guys, we go into claim evidence reasoning. I talked briefly about that the first week, but we're going to dive more into that. And claim, what is your answer? Evidence. How do you know? Reasoning. Why does the evidence support your answer? Guys, claim. Does the type of fish bait affect the number of fish caught? That is my claim. Okay. It's a good question.
Mhm.
Okay. Evidence. I use my tables, my observation. Live shrimp caught me 12 fish during the 3 trials, while artificial bait caught me 3.
Now that would be a good thing for collecting data. That's numbers, and in this case, you'd probably make a bar graph as opposed to live bait and fake bait.
Yeah.
And then you could do the different runs and then do an average at the end. Everything requires certain ways to show the evidence. So it's not always the same way.
Yeah.
And that takes a little bit of time to learn, but you got a teacher who's going to teach you the basics. And then as you go up the ladder, you'll learn more of those tricks.
And we did the bar graph actually this past Thursday in our helicopter lab. So you saw the difference of timing and everything like that, the seconds that it took for it to fall. So that is one thing that you're using. But then we go into a reasoning. Explains why your evidence supports your claim using science. Live shrimp naturally moves, produces scent in the water that fish can detect. Because more fish were caught using live shrimp than your data supports the claim that it was more effective during this experiment.
Mhm.
We can just say, yeah, we know all this. I don't want to use artificial bait.
But the process you use further up the line.
Yes.
When you think about Pasteur coming up with the cure,
Huh.
okay, they spent 2 years baking and separating to get to the actual mold
Oh, wow.
that actually produces the penicillin. So it wasn't like they
Wow.
did it one week with a piece of moldy bread. It takes time. and they were new at it. They had no way of knowing
Huh.
because it isn't like there's other people discovering medicine back in the 1900s, early,
No,
you know,
no.
1900, that kind of thing. So understand that um, the scientific method, you learn the basics in school, but as you go up the ladder, you're the one that's going to create the tools.
Yeah.
I mean, I have grad students that I work with, and they're creating the tools. So they're not only coming up with the theory, they're creating the tools and then how to monitor it.
Yep.
And the big thing with coastal Carolina is they love monitoring coastal environments. And we have 40 or 50 um, probes, both out in the sea and in each of the waterways.
Wow.
And they just tied them together like a month ago. So now we have this new tool. Now we have to record the information and figure out how it applies. Because we have sea level rise, we have sea level temperature warm, we have the warmer temperatures bring algae. That changes a lot of things. Algae it's a critter.
Yeah.
Well, if you have two critters and they make one more critter, you do realize that's one more volume. Well, if you have a balloon, you also have an increase in volume,
Yes.
and that's in a bay. So now you have to deal. There's tons of stuff that you have to deal with. So you come up with the tools, then you come up with and then you have to figure out how to present it.
Yeah.
You're learning scientific method right now. You're doing stuff that we already know the answer to. You're learning how to do the method. When you get further up the ladder, this is what I mean. If you've got a coffee shop and you want to be successful, you got to figure out what brand sells the best,
Yeah.
where you want to put your coffee truck, okay, um, who the clientele you're going to reach. That's three different scientific experiments you got to do to figure out how to sell coffee better.
Yeah.
And then you get rich and wealthy and you live in the Caribbean. You know how it is.
Well, again, let's not think about the scientific method for a second. Let's not think about the science classroom or school. Imagine you work at an automotive shop. Customer comes in and goes, uh, my truck won't start. You don't immediately replace the entire engine, guys. You might ask a question. Start asking the question: is the battery dead? Is there fuel?
A loose
Starter?
wire,
Yeah.
starter. So the mechanic is going to do the scientific method on every one of those things to figure out what the flaw is.
You start testing.
Now,
That's the
true,
hypothesis.
they have a modern testing machine
Yeah.
but that came from people doing that research years ago to invent that machine.
Yeah.
But they still have to figure out how to fix it. So then do they replace it? Is it just a connection that needs to be redone? Even that is scientific, and it's still CER too,
Yeah.
because you're trying to figure out the reasoning for what the failure is and
Yeah.
the reasoning to fix it.
Exactly.
So
There's plenty of different ones. There's construction. Maybe you go, why is the concrete cracking? Well, you come up with the different ideals behind that. Landscaping. A lot of you do landscaping. Why is this part of the lawn dying? I know this guy has problems with it all the time.
I figured it out.
Maybe the
I just
section,
can't fix it.
maybe it's not getting enough water.
No, it's the water
Soil
table.
moisture. The water table.
It's leaking out of my front yard,
Yeah, so it
and it won't let
happens.
the grass grow.
Now,
So
a lot of you guys are taking welding. Imagine a welder keeps failing. You might investigate the material, temperature, technique, contamination, equipment settings. You got to test it, inspect it. There's your experimentation, guys. It's all around us. Okay? Every part of it, even with the claim, evidence, and reasoning, it all works together. All right. Now, scientific method helps us solve problems, questions, hypotheses, experiments. We come up with data, conclusions, and CER helps us explain what our investigation shows. Claim, what is your answer? Evidence, what data supports your answer? And reasoning, why does the evidence support your claim? Now, again, with all that being said, there are 3 questions, and you will see them down below on the YouTube channel and in Google Classroom. Number 1, choose something you do outside of science class, such as fishing, sports, cooking, automotive work, construction, gaming, or any other activity. Explain one way you could use the scientific method to solve that problem. Okay. Next question. A student claims that plants grow faster when they receive more sunlight. What is one piece of evidence that students could collect to support or reject this claim? And why is it important to look at evidence before believing a claim you see on social media, in advertisement, or hear from another person?
That's a big one. That covers everything out there.
Oh man. There you go. And that's Stu Science 101. See you next week.
This is the way.